girls which are aged between 15 and 25, so we would all be eligible for this program. And so we have this program in 2 countries right now. We have it in the Democratic Republic of Congo and South Sudan. So in the DRC, it was piloted, which is where we implemented it first. So it was piloted there in August of 2014, like I just said, with GNWP and the Synergie de l'Association Féminine du Congo. So we used local NGOs within the countries to implement our programming. And so there were 50 girls and young mothers which have now learned to read in Momosho territory in South Kivu. So these are just a little outcomes of what happened in DRC. And there are 60 girls which have learned how to use computers and sharing their stories and connecting with like-minded people around the world. So something really particular to the DRC is that because certain girls were already literate or had a basic understanding of literacy, we were able to implement technology which way quicker and much quicker than in South Sudan, as you'll see. So now for South Sudan. So in Torres, South Sudan, we started implementing this in May of 2015, almost a year after we first implemented the Girls Ambassadors for Peace program in the DRC. And this was in a village, which is called Mission in Torres in South Sudan, which the illiteracy rate is 98%. So imagine only 2% of the communities which are women and girls which can actually read or write, which is a huge gap in anything we understand as people in this room coming from a Western perspective. And so most of the women and girls need help even just learning how to use a pencil. These are things that we learn when we're 4 or 5 years old, when our kindergarten teachers ask us to draw a little picture of our family. And so these are really difficult steps for these women because they're such basic things for us, but they don't know how to do this, so we have to show them in order to even move on to empower them to know their place in the community. And so most of the Girl Ambassadors also have 1 to 4 children in South Sudan, which is a really big challenge for a lot of people because they have to be at home, they have to care for their children, and they're left kind of with no support and they don't really know where to get that support. And so this is something that we're trying to help them out with by giving them the tools to educate themselves and to use their education for community building purposes. And overall, there are 68 young women and girls which have undergone the leadership and peace building training to become the Girls Ambassadors for Peace. So what happens is that GNWP goes into the countries and they train the Girls Ambassadors, and then these girls go into their communities and then help build leadership skills and empower the women and the girls in those places. So it's a really good grassroots initiative. So for literacy training, as I said, it's really hard because a lot of people don't even know how to write the alphabet. They don't know what the alphabet is. And so what we do is we go into there and we will show them a little bit of tricks and tools to learn how to teach others and educate and become teachers, really, in their own communities. The second big aspect of the GAP program is the leadership aspect. And now I really want to point out that this is a real Girl Ambassadors for Peace. All these photos have been taken in South Sudan or in DRC in the last 2 years. And this girl particularly is called Ariane, and she's 17 years old. And before this, she didn't really know what she wanted to do. She wasn't really aware of the capacities that she could have and the influence that she could have. But on this little piece of paper, which you can't read, it says that she, in 5 years, sees herself becoming a school principal. So you see the huge step that she's taken from going from not really knowing her place in the world to then wanting to make change and to actually wanting to implement this from an educational standpoint. There's also capacity building. And so this is showing the women and demonstrating to them that they have a place in the community and they have a large impact on their community. As women, they're able to bring their families and their homes and all the people that they do business with or whatnot, not necessarily business in the sense that they would go and exchange goods for money, but just that they see every single day in their communities, to be able to empower these other women and then build a peaceful society and tell the people who are, especially in the DRC and South Sudan, which is a very conflict-stricken area, tell these people that they don't want the war and they don't want this, they want a peaceful society and they can have their voice heard. And lastly, the thing that I really, really love about this project and about GNWP is that it's such a grassroots initiative. And so as I said, it's about going in and giving these people the tools to then go into their own communities. We're not coming in with a Western perspective and saying this is how you have to deal with your issues, this is how you should resolve your conflict. We're coming in and giving them the opportunity to pick and choose from our programming what best suits their cultural context and their livelihoods. And so they're able to go out and then choose what is both best applicable to their situations and which scenarios best work for them and their realities to then implement this advocacy and this empowerment within their communities. So thank you very much.